Hey everyone, Shawn Clement here, and I got this exciting session for you people today. We have an incredible seminar coming up on August 5th, right around the corner here in Toronto. Still can't believe I was able to get these two doctors up here. They are specialists in how we learn motor skills as humans on this planet. And I've got a great demonstration here on how critical this is. That's going to save you so much time and pain and effort in your quest to get a better golf game. So listen tight, this is really important stuff. So a classic example, Shawn, one of my good students, who comes up from the US, and he's having this issue, very high hooks, and he's a strong player. Guy's built like a brick crap house, and beautiful, lots of power in his swing, and he's preoccupied with what's going on in his backswing. And I can tell you as a teacher, and I know many of you teachers are watching this right now, you say, okay, you got an overswing problem, you're going back too far, go to here and stop, right? And then they take a backswing or they hit a shot and they think they went to there and they hit the shot, then you show them on video and the darn thing's past parallel again. And they're bewildered to what's going on. And this has been proven time and time again how bad we are at knowing where our body parts are. We suck at this because we're not supposed to know. We are adaptation machines. We adapt to the environment. So we're external focused creatures, okay? So what I did with Shawn, and the reason why he was hitting these big high hooks, preoccupied with his backswing, and because he's over here in his backswing, there is no target. He didn't realize he's getting way out in front of the ball. So now, out in front of the ball, he's got to reach back. So he's reaching back, releasing early, of course, losing his lag, squaring up too soon. Not only is he squaring up too soon, so the club face is closed, then he's got more loft in his club. Yeah, it's going to go sky high and have big hooks, and he can't play into the wind. So, how do we figure this out? Well, we did a downhill shot. Number one, you'll see when you see me do this downhill session afterwards. When you're going downhill, by the way, you don't put your shoulders with the slope. You don't try to tilt your body with the slope at all. Now you're preoccupied with your body parts. So we don't have shoulders level with the slope on a flat lie. Notice how my right hand's lower than my left hand because I'm going this way. Notice how my shoulders are not level. So why would they be level on a downhill slope? It doesn't make any sense. It's only going to throw you off balance. So what you're trying to do is balance yourself down the slope, feel extremely balanced, and then when you swing through, you're going to notice that you're going to have a lot more pressure on the inside of that lead leg. So when that pressure stays on the inside of the lead leg, it prevents you from getting in front of the ball. So you're going to feel this beautiful, bolted, braced wall that you're hitting into. And you'll see this in the video coming up right now. So we prevent Shawn from getting in front of the ball by going downhill with a nice brace. And because we're going downhill, I'm asking him, I'm instructing him to release down the slope and to hit the ground, to skip the ball off the ground on the way out. So not only is he braced properly on this front leg, we're going down and through, and we're skipping the ball off the ground, and we're hitting a fade. So we have, let's say, this rubber tee as the intermediate point. We're going left of that. And I'm asking Shawn to take a backswing that he feels would allow him to swing to the left of that intermediate point. Top of backswing and stop. Does that feel left of bolt? Mm-hmm. Stay left of bolt with a nice little whip. So we go to the top of the backswing. So the first we do takeaway. The takeaway matches, great. So the eyes stay here so that you, in your peripheral vision, you can see where the club is going in relation to the intermediate point. So yes, that's still left. And then we go to the top of the backswing. Now it's out of sight. So you got to rely on your feel. You don't know where it is visually because you can't see it. However, you will know exactly where it is in relation to your task. I'm trying to cut the stem of that dandelion that way to the left of this tee. So, yes, that's left. No, that doesn't feel like I can cut a stem in the direction of left of that tee. That's way too far left. That's left edge. That fits. So then all of a sudden, Shawn looks at his backswing. Here's a picture of it. And you'll notice how at the top of that backswing, he is perfectly on plane. He looks at that and he goes, oh my gosh, that looks good. That looks like exactly what I'm trying to do. Well, yeah, of course, because you related it to a task. You don't go blindly into a backswing and try to figure out, okay, am I in the correct position? Do you have a target? No? Well, then you're in the wrong position. You see how this works? So it starts with a target and a task. So we're looking for a fade that's going to go left edge of that intermediate point. We're going downhill, so he feels more brace here, and he feels like he's not going to be able to get ahead of that. And we're going to whip the club down the slope and try to make it skip off the bottom of the slope. So now all of a sudden, he's striking the ball beautifully, way lower, much more penetrating trajectory with this gorgeous little cut. He says, I'm having so much trouble with my fade. Well, it's because he's trying to find a position but couldn't relate it to his target, to what he was trying to do. So downhill takes care of the high ball flight, braced against the front leg, downhill again. So we used the downhill slope, external focus, and we allowed him to adapt to his environment, and then we just tried to make sure that the backswing fit the direction he wanted to go on. And then eventually he goes, yeah, that still fits. Boom, I'm ready to go. Now he figured it out on his own. I let him go out and practice on his own, and he says, okay, in order for me to stay there, I'm going to put a ball over there or put a ball on the inside and make sure I don't hit that ball on the way through. So like Vijay Singh with his water bottle, he's staying to the left of that water bottle, and he's got external focus that he's reacting to. So Shawn put a ball on the inside there, and if he dropped it too much from the inside, he'd hit that ball. So now it forces him to stay on the outside of that ball, and now he's got a ball flight that's finally fitting the picture he wants. And off he goes. Now he's going to go practice. He's got a nice mission, and I can't wait to see what he comes up with in the next month. Enjoy the next video of the downhill shot. Very important info. All the best. Hi everyone, in Wisdom Nation, Shawn Clement here, and we're going to elaborate on that wonderful series we did on the slopes for the short shots, the chip shots. And basically this is going to take care of your pitch shots and your full swing. And you know, we're starting off with our trusty grass whip, and that's all you're basically doing is you're on a slope in your backyard with your grass whip, and you're positioning yourself in a way that's going to allow you to stay in wonderful balance on that slope. Now, you know, really pay no attention to whatever you've seen other than wisdom in golf when it comes to the slopes, because they are treading on a very slippery slope. When they talk about shoulders with the slope, well, we don't even do that on a flat lie. Your right hand is lower than your left hand for a right-handed player, so your right shoulder is going to be lower than the left shoulder. But more importantly, if I'm going to balance myself during my action, and this is what's so wonderful about the human body on this planet, I'm going to toe open my front foot for more stability. I'm going to allow my weight to go to my forward leg. But I want the weight to stay in my forward leg, because when I swing through the grass down the slope, I don't want to fall down, period, okay? So if I fall down, it's over. I have to go someplace else. So I am staying wonderfully on my slope as I'm cutting the grass down the slope. And you notice how the grass whip, if I do perpetual motion here, back and through, I want to feel like I'm cutting up the slope in the backswing, cutting down the slope on the follow through. Up the slope, down the slope. And you could, you know, do your elephant walk here on this particular slope. So down the slope, up the slope, down the slope. So you see how nice and efficient that is. So if I take my 9-iron and I I basically have a smaller grass cutting tool. The shots are definitely going to come out lower when you're going down the slope. So, you know, you can definitely anticipate that. And as far as ball position is concerned, it's very much the same ball position that you would normally use to hit your fade or your draw. So if I'm playing a little fade starting at a little left edge of that bolt, I'm going to play that ball just a hair forward to center, club face a little less closed, but I still want to feel that the low point of my shot is in front of the ball. So notice how my head's back because I'm still swinging down the slope and out to the target. If I move my head forward, well, now I'm shaving across the slope going way left. So I still have that wonderful position of my head that allows me to go that way and down the slope. And then I want to feel like I'm shaving grass on this side of the ball, this immediate side of the ball. That wouldn't work. That would be too far back. I'd have to reach back. And that right there feels terrific. So if I stay with that, you notice in the backswing, the weight stays on that front leg. Notice I can just take my rear leg and just tap it. And I'm just maintaining my weight on the inside of that front leg. And you'll notice how I'm not going forward on that leg. The pressure stays on the inside portion of my forward ankle. So everything is bolted right in here on the inside of that ankle, and I feel I still have that nice suction with the arch of my foot. So it maintains, and it maintains. So notice at the end of my swing, everything is bolted against that left side, so I can't fall down that slope. Okay? So, inside ankle. There's for the fade. And if I want it to hit my draw, I'm going to aim straight over that bolt, play the ball back, get behind the ball, and now I feel like I'm swinging to the right edge of the bolt, back and through. Right edge of bolt, right edge of bolt. Now that shot's leaving just slightly right. It's going to draw right back. Notice how sweet the contact was because I'm staying against my forward side. If I shift up the hill, most of you are, you know, a little skittish with that slope. Really, don't be afraid to brace yourself against that forward leg. And this is just a little ballast to keep you in balance against that forward side. So you'll notice that, you know, when you stay in balance and you're hitting into a very specific shot pattern, the ball will do exactly what you are planning to do if you stay with your target, of course. You feel that release down the slope, not at the ball, but down the slope and out towards that target. And the only difference here is that you'll notice that as you practice these particular shots, you'll start getting used to a lower ball flight pattern. So, you know, now when you get onto the golf course, you got the slight downhill lie heading out there and you're thinking, okay, the ball's going to come out low, which means that it's probably not going to hold the green the same way, so I'm going to land a little bit more forward on the green or in front of the green, let it roll up. Or if you're into the wind, then there's no problem. Then you actually have the right conditions when you're moving into the wind. You'll notice, we'll do a little shot afterwards. I'll show you how you're going to use this feel to hit low shots into the breeze or hit those nice low stinger long irons or fairway woods off the tee so that, you know, if you've got a downhill shot, you just want to hit that sucker out there in the line drive, then this will set the stage and give you the right feel to perform those shots. So let's have a look. Okay, so let's look at the applications of a low. I'm going to use a 6-iron for both, for the high shot and the low shot, so that you really get a good idea and see the difference in launch angle here when we put it on flight scope. So I'm going to hit a low stinging 6-iron. I'm going to go with a low draw and a low fade, and then we'll do a high draw and a high fade, okay? So I'm pretending I'm going down the hill. Now, you guys remember the ball and the string, right? So before we start that off, So I got my ball on a string. I got my tee right here. So you'll notice that as I twirl the ball, so imagine that's the center of my body here. So if I'm going down, I want to feel that the low point of this arc is in front of the ball. So you notice the low point is somewhere right about there, okay? Now if I was hitting something more a little bit higher, I want to feel like it's just before it starts to come back up where I'm catching my golf ball. That would be the highest I could hit it with an iron off the turf. And then when we get to the driver, it's going to look more like this. Notice how the low point is well behind the ball and I'm just nicking the tip of the tee on the way up. Now, what holds this into position, that's the center of your swing, right, is the focus on the specific target that you're going to hit. So if I'm getting ready here and I want to hit my low shot, I've got my keep out sign here, and I want to stay below the keep out sign when I perform that particular shot. So I play the ball farther back in my stance, close the face a bit more, and really feel like I'm swinging down the slope. So from here, I'm going right edge, and I'm going to feel a nice release, right? So I'm feeling the weight of the club releasing me down the slope into my picture. So I'm getting ready and I'm expecting to take a longer, deeper divot when I perform this task. So your grip needs to be up to snuff, okay? So I got my setup. I feel now I'm going to look for that nice low effort, nice velocity release, very low under that keep out sign to the right edge of that intermediate point. Here we go. Well, that was spot on. So notice my follow through, as I'm releasing through, my follow through is very low and it's more under my shot here. It's like if I'm trying to punch this under a branch and out to the front of the green. So let's have a look on Flight Scope, see what that looks like. So if we look at the low draw that we talked about, so that was my first shot here. Notice how the shot started and you see that nice curve coming back. And that's exactly what you want to see with a draw, by the way, is it lands to the right and then it's going to cozy up after a couple of bounces to that flagstick. So you definitely want to picture the shot curving back toward the pin, landing to the right of the pin, and then cozying up to the shot. It could also land a little bit past the pin to the right, and if you got some good backspin, come back into the hole from that way, okay? So if we look at, you know, here's in red, and we look at the numbers here, well, here we go. So it says we got carry 212 yards. I know I did smoke that shot. It is an indoor reading, so I will pay, you know, I will give it just a hair of a little grain of salt. So notice that now, because the ball's further back in my stance, I'm catching it more from the inside. So notice my path is 12 degrees to the right, and my club face about 5 degrees closed to that path, which basically, and you'll notice my launch angle for that is, you know, a good 2 to 3 degrees lower than it normally would be. And there's my draw spin axis, okay? If we apply this to the driver, you want to hit that low driver into the wind versus that high drive with the tailwind. Well, basically, downhill, and this is also, if you look at the height that I have my tees on, it also feels like downhill ball above the feet. And you'll see in ball above the feet, you know, obviously how we do that. So I feel like now, when I'm swinging through this shot, I want to feel like I'm catching it on the way down. So you notice the low point of my swing is going to be right here in front of the ball, and I'm catching the tip of the tee as my club is on the way down the slope. So you'll see how my weight's a little more forward. I feel like I'm going more downhill. My takeaway, I'm moving up the slope. And in my follow through, I'm moving down the slope, and it feels like I'm going to catch the tip of the tee on my way down, okay? So if I wanted to do a little draw, I'm going to take my intermediate point here, And I'm going to go down the slope to the right edge of that golf ball. And down the slope to the right edge of that golf ball is going to be left edge of that keep out sign. And that should be well below the keep out sign as well. And I'm going to close my face substantially more so it feels like when I come through. And that's basically, it's a feel thing. Right? It's a prediction thing. You say, hey, when I swing down the slope through that, notice how my ball position's further back in my stance, you'll say, well, wait a second, if I swing down the slope and I keep the same grip, this feels like it's going to go to the right. Well, your instincts are correct. So you'll need to close the face more so that now when you're swinging down and through, that ball doesn't feel like it's going to squirt to the right. It's going to feel like it's staying right edge of the intermediate point, however. So here we have it. So I got the tip of the tee, my eyeballs are on the tip of the tee, and it feels like I'm going to catch the tip of the tee on my way down when I swing to the right edge of that intermediate point towards keep out and below keep out. Here we go. Keep the strain low. That felt pretty good. So let's have a quick look on flight scope on that one. So if we look at the driver, my fourth shot here was my low stinger, and that I'm extremely happy with. And notice that basically carried about 200 yards in the air, but because my club speed was 110 miles per hour, my smash factor was almost 1.5, ball speed coming off of that was 160, that will roll a mile. Right? It's showing me 85 yards of roll. And notice how it's just hugging the center line. So if I was playing in Scotland right now and some nice firm fairways into the wind, I'd be extremely pleased with that. If you look at my spin rate, 2,500 RPM, that's not a lot.